This is Jorge Rivera with FirstCoast.tv. As you all know, Trump won 2 days ago. Not only did he win Indiana in a landslide, but also Cruz and Kasich followed by dropping out of the race. So now it's Trump. So we find ourselves here at the Republican headquarters in St. Augustine, and we're talking to three people who work here. And are you Trump supporters, all of you?
I'm Bob Smith.
Okay.
And I've been with the Republican Party for 56 years.
Okay.
And my job is to keep the party's headquarters open, and we don't actually choose sides in a primary.
Okay.
We help all of the presidential candidates, but now that Florida's had their vote,
Yes.
then we're getting into gear ready to help Trump.
All right. Now that Trump is in, now let me start with you, Derek. Were you a Trump supporter from the beginning of the primary?
I was, yes. And having grown up in the northeastern part of the United States prior to moving home to Florida,
Okay.
I always watched Mr. Trump's moves because he's a hardcore New Yorker. And I've got family from New York who are in development, and I've always liked Mr. Trump. And then when the opportunity presented itself to come on board in the state of Florida to help Mr. Trump win in the primary, I chose the opportunity to do so. So yes, Jorge, I am an avid Trump supporter and one of the foot soldiers that are on the ground in Florida for Mr. Trump and the campaign.
All right. And your name is?
My name is Cindy Sharp.
Okay. And Cindy, were you a Trump supporter from the beginning?
Oh yeah, he had me at hello. I'm from the Northeast also, born and raised outside of Philadelphia. My parents had a house down the shore in New Jersey. We were in New York a lot and been to Trump Tower several times, and he's just the most amazing American I've ever seen.
All right. And Bob, were you a Trump supporter from the beginning?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was a Rubio supporter.
Oh, Rubio. Okay.
And but frankly, watching the campaign develop, the best candidate emerged, and this election could be a rough and tumble event, and a guy from New York knows to handle the verbal sparring, as he's proved in the primary. And also, this primary was unusual in that there were 17, 18 candidates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The average voter doesn't realize that the Republican primary is it's a contest to pick our nominee, but it also battle hardens the candidates so that when they get up against Hillary or Bernie, they're not going to be playing patty cake.
Right.
It'll be rough and tumble, I'm sure, and Trump will acquit himself obviously better than any of the other candidates would have.
Right. Yes, go ahead.
Jorge, that was excellently, Bob hit the nail on the head. This election is like no other in the sense that here's a guy who's never run for political office, period, has never been involved in politics except for making donations to various different people who he's known through business, who happen to be Republican and Democrat. He's a smart business guy.
Because at the end of the day, he's a
But
business
more
guy.
importantly, this race is about the future of America. Do we want 4 more years with the
Status quo.
with the status quo and 4 more years of the failed liberal Obama policies, or do we want a whole new direction? And I think America as a whole wants a whole new direction, at least those who have supported Mr. Trump up to this point. In addition, Bob's correct in the statement that he said, we need a fighter. Mr. Trump's a hardcore New York scrapper. You're from New York. You know New Yorkers don't take any smack. And with a person like Hillary Clinton, who's been up this road, up this hill a couple of times before and lost to Barack Obama and seen her husband run for the presidency against an incumbent president with an open seat for the presidency, we need a fighter. And Mr. Trump is that fighter who emerged, and as they say in the Northeast, the cream rises to the top, and that's exactly what happened, and he's just the guy that we need for the job for this time around.
And not just for the country.
Right.
Not just for
The world.
For the world, because as America goes, the world goes. But he's a uniter. I mean, yes, he's running under the Republican flag, But he's got Democrats, he's got independents, he's got blacks, he's got Latinos, he's got women, he's got he's got poor people, rich people, intelligent people, lower intelligent, everybody.
lower class, lower socioeconomic class.
Right.
There is different social, and it's the most marvelous thing. Here's what I've noticed in this campaign, and this is my 7th presidential campaign. Yeah, 7th, and the first one that I've been on the ground in a place like Florida. I have never seen a metamorphosis of people, a metamorphosis with reference to politics and people coming together from the left side of the Republican Party, the right side, the backwoods, the country, rural America, African American, suburban America, Hispanic America. And the unique thing is, here's a guy who's never been in office, and he's, and in my opinion, has always said who he was going to attract from the beginning. From the beginning, he said he was going to win the black vote. He said he was going to win 28%. I believe that. I believe that because of the fact that he is the first presidential candidate who has ever come out front to include minorities in the march prior to September or October of that election year. Now, you might not hear what I'm saying, but the people who are watching this, who happen to be minority, they know exactly what I'm saying. And I will clarify it for you. He's very inclusive. You listen to every single one of his speech, he doesn't talk about a hyphenated America. He says America and Americans. It's not a black, a white, a purple, a green, a Hispanic. He talks about America as we are. Y pluribus unum. Finally, someone who gets it from the beginning, doesn't need coaching from a $1.5 million political consultant to say this thing or say that thing. He says what's on his mind, and 9 times out of 10, it's exactly what the American people are thinking, and why so that cream rose to the top.
Well, 2 things are very interesting in this election. Is that if Hillary ends up being the nominee for Democrat, Trump and Hillary are world known.
Yes.
Trump on the side of business, and Hillary as Secretary of State, as the senator in New York, as
First
the
lady.
wife, First Lady, which makes them 2 dynamic world
Personalities.
which is very interesting.
Yes.
The other thing is, now there's the argument that though people don't like the Citizen United, a lot of people don't like these PACs. What it shows that with Trump, this PAC didn't work. It couldn't derail him. I mean, he kept winning states at 60%.
65,000 negative ads in Indiana alone, and he won in a landslide.
So he was running almost like a third-party candidate because he had the Democrats on
Not
against
established.
him, and the part of the Republican Party beating on him, and he still kept coming up with these very impressive numbers in a field of 17.
But you have to
That was
ask.
very interesting.
I think that that's very important because the print media makes a big deal out of Trump's high negatives. But from the gate, from the day he announced he's been the front runner and had 17 different campaigns at the start, all shooting at him.
Right.
And so virtually all the negative ads that were run by 16 other candidates were aimed at Trump,
Right.
with a few exceptions.
Yeah.
When you have that for 6 months, your negatives will go up because you're the dartboard.
Yes.
And that number is really not a realistic number. It's accumulation of 6 months of negative ads. And I don't think, now that he's head-to-head with Hillary, I think he's been very smart to hold his cards in. He spent next to no money.
Right, that's the other.
So
9 cents a
he
vote.
saved
Right.
all of his money, and I expect a very aggressive campaign, particularly on her shortcomings by saving items that were above SAPs, which are born above top security when they're written, and they're meant to be read and then destroyed. It's like James Bond.
Yeah.
In the Army, if you get caught with one of those
Right.
in wartime, you'll be shot on the spot because the only people that would possess 128 SAPs would be a spy. And many of them were passed on to Sid Blumenthal, who was in Tripoli, and Ms. Blumenthal couldn't even get a security clearance from Obama, for whatever the reason, but I don't want to speculate.
Well, we're going to have to end it here, but I want to end it with one question, which is basically, I'll ask individually, let's start with you, Derek. Who do you think Trump will pick as his vice presidential running mate, if you had to just pull it out of a hat?
It will be someone who is from a larger state, maybe Texas, California, Michigan, or potentially Florida, so to balance the ticket.
Any names come up to your head?
There are a number of names that come up to my head for him to balance that ticket, but I am going to refrain from naming a person.
All right.
I do have a few people that I would love to see in that position.
Okay.
To answer your question, one person who I think very highly of, who would be a great pick to balance the ticket in more ways than one, would be former Lieutenant Governor, former Florida Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll.
Okay.
I think that Senator Marco Rubio would be another excellent choice. That balances the ticket with Florida and 27 electoral college votes. If Carly Fiorina had not chosen and locked up with Mr. Cruz, that would have been another one with California and 55 electoral college votes.
All right.
Or a conservative female from Arizona, like Governor Brewer or Martinez. Someone to balance the current census, the current census as we know it, of the balancing of America and what the American future looks like.
All right. And who do you think would you like or you think?
I think it's going to be an insider. Has to be. He needs somebody to help him maneuver through the halls of Congress.
Right. Because he's not a politician.
Right. I disagree about Rubio. I like Rubio. Valid or not, I still think there's an eligibility issue there that Trump won't touch until it's totally put to bed.
Okay.
So I don't think it'll be Rubio. I don't think Trump's the kind to pander to women like that and pick a woman, even though he has a lot of women in his executive positions in his corporation. But ultimately, I trust this man so implicitly that whoever he picks will be the ideal pick. The man is intelligent, he can't be bought. And I just one thing I want to say, I heard a great quote, it was Van Jones actually on CNN.
Okay.
And they were talking about Trump, and he said, the one thing about Trump, he said, it's like riding a roller coaster blindfold. You have no idea what's coming.
True.
And Trump will do it exactly right, however he does it.
All right. And Bob? What do you think?
I think he's going to be Reaganistic, and I think he'll pick Cruz. And if it's not Cruz, it very well could be Rubio. And if he was going to pick an insider, I think that Newt Gingrich would certainly be in the running. He's one of his top advisors. But I'm just thinking out loud.
It'll be a big surprise when he does.
If he picked Cruz, that would almost ensure that he wins another big four by carrying Texas. It's also an effort on the Republican Party to reach out to the Hispanic community that has the same values as the Republican Party. Lastly, I think something strange could come out of that, just thinking out loud, what if the most competent man that I know to replace the late Justice Scalia would be Cruz. And he could run on the vice president ticket, and the first appointment of Trump would be Cruz to the Supreme Court, and then Trump could pick somebody that maybe was not as electable to be a VP, a Kasich, or even a Newt Gingrich.
All right.
Because it just has to be approved by the Senate.
Right. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We could be talking about this for a long time. There's a lot of things, but we want to keep it within that 12, 15-minute gap. And I thank you very much. I'd love to come here around October, about a month before the election, see what's happened, who's in, and ask for your opinion again. I thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank you.
us.